Hi, Lorenzo. Thank you so much for joining us for this Color Vision interview. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me, Lucas. I'm doing great. All at home, as everyone, I expect.
We're all at home, effectively. Yeah. So before we begin, I wanted to ask you, what color could define your mood in this moment?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe green.
Green. You like a green?
Yeah, I like green. Well, I'm standing outside a window and I can only see green because I have all the trees outside. So it's a perfect place to be for this interview.
That's
And then
beautiful.
you have green on your back. So right now, as we're speaking, so I guess that's the right color for the right moment.
Exactly, especially for you. And tell me, so you're telling me you see that through your window. What memory does this color trigger for you?
Well, probably childhood memories from the countryside. We used to spend a lot of time on the countryside, especially in summertime, and it's beautiful out there. So I guess this is the memory that it triggers.
That's great. That's a good childhood memory.
Yeah.
And tell me, Lorenzo, what is your passion in life?
Oh, I like to think I have not just one passion, but different ones. But in professional terms, I'm someone who has interest in different fields. Social impact is maybe the first, and it's where I started my career. But I'm very passionate about the business sector as well.
Okay.
So I always try to find the bridge between these two worlds, which ultimately comes up to with the concept of social business. And besides that, I studied political science, so I'm very passionate about politics as well, even if I'm not engaged in a specific party or anything.
Okay.
I'm very keen on those topics. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, actually, that was my next question. What is your field of expertise and what do you actually do in life?
Well, what I'm doing currently is business consulting, and on the side, I'm involved with different political and social projects. So in the past about 10 years, I've been working with the third sector, so in foundations, in social businesses. Then I passed on to the corporate sector, working as much with the startups and younger companies as with the major international corporations. And I've always kept my political interests on the side, but maybe one day it will also become some sort of activity.
Okay, that's great. That's great. And for you personally, through this pandemic, how are you living this? How is it going for you?
Oh, it's going pretty well. I don't think I cannot complain. I don't have anyone around me who is sick, so this is good news for me.
That's good.
I'm obviously very worried about the social impacts of this pandemic. But for now, I'm staying at home. I'm working from home. My job allows me to perform well remotely, and I'm enjoying some time with my wife, which is amazing. So for now, I'm doing good. I'm feeling optimistic.
That's very good to hear. That's very good to hear. So you just said you're feeling optimistic. What is your vision for the aftermath of this pandemic, and what do you think the world needs after this?
Well, it depends on the specific topic we'd be talking about. But in social terms, I'm not that optimistic. It depends. If you think of the immediate consequences of the pandemic, this will probably be very similar to the consequences of an economic crisis. So you already see the unemployment rates going up. You can expect the poverty rates to go up as well, and people going through hard times. But I also see that many people rediscovered solidarity and the sense of community, especially in businesses. So I would expect that you see also a rise in social corporate action, which could be good news. And I also think that people rediscovered some level of trust in their own governments, which at least in Europe and in other countries as well, South America is very strong on that as well. And that level of trust is crucial for you to have a sense of community and to be able to respond to this sort of crisis with more efficiency.
Right, that's very interesting. And you talked about some good and some bad also. Do you think this crisis will create new values for our society?
Maybe values around this sense of community. I think it really depends on the society you're talking about. We should have a discussion on which models, social models or development models could work best after the crisis. And this becomes a little political as well.
Right.
If you think, for instance, the American model, well, it's much more focused on individualism. And we've been seeing some governments. I saw the government of New York the other day trying to explain people the notion of we, as a society, we, not just me. I'm feeling well, I can go to work now, but thinking about others. And he had to explain this to his peers. So maybe we'll see some changes in values for certain societies that are more individualistic. For other societies, maybe in Europe, you have a mixture between individualism and a sense of community. And I think the sense of community became much stronger during this pandemic. People know that you can only fight this if you fight it together. So I think, I don't know if it's a new value, but it stresses out the importance of community and of the we mindset.
I like that New York story a lot. It's a good one. And actually, regarding that, do you think this will change the way humans interact in some way?
Well, I don't know if it'll change. I think only time will tell us that.
For sure.
I think it's very probable that we get back to normal as we used to, but maybe we'll be more aware of how others might be feeling around us. If anyone needs help with anything, maybe we'll become more sensitive, at least at first. But we'll also be more afraid at the beginning because human contact may mean the return of the pandemic. So yeah. It's, we're eager for proximity again, but we're afraid of proximity at the same time. So it might be a bit confusing at the beginning, and who knows how it will stabilize. I'm very curious to see what the impact will be. But I don't know yet the real consequences. I think nobody knows. We're just making some futurism.
Yeah, for sure. Time will tell, right?
Yes, exactly.
And regarding the environment, do you think this will create some sense of or more environmental consciousness?
Well, potentially. I think people have been trying to connect this crisis with environmental topics. It's not an environmental crisis.
No, for sure.
Yeah, but sometimes there is a bit of confusion around this. I think people might become more aware of that. Yes, it depends. But people have the same cars. You didn't buy a new car during the pandemic, so you didn't change to an electric car, right?
No, for sure.
So what's the real change in your behavior? Are you going to buy a new car when you leave your home after the pandemic? I don't know if you'll have trust and money for that. So it's still to see. If people will really change their behaviors. I think for now, maybe some people are changing their behaviors at home and the way they consume, for instance, water or electricity. They might become a bit more conscious about that, and they had more time to take care of that. But we can expect in the first, I think the first weeks or months, we can expect things to get back to normal. Industries to get back on producing, people to get back on doing normal things, because during the pandemic you didn't have the structural change that you needed. So what you can expect eventually is that people have more motivation to go through with that structural changes. But in the immediate time after the pandemic, I'm not sure you'll see much changes. Let's see.
No, for sure.
Hope so, of course. But let's see.
No, for sure, because you talked a lot also about the trust in the government and in the government, but there's a question of the trust in science, right? With all of this that's happening. And
that's a major comeback, in the age of fake news. So the trust in science is a major comeback. Actually, this is good news because you know you're in the hands of your government now and of science, and your government follows what science tells. So you're in the hands of science again, and it's been a while since you've been in the hands of scientists. So that could be good news. That could be good news. Yeah.
Well, we'll see, I guess. And finally, how do you see this digital transformation that we're going through?
Well, for businesses, it's very curious because for long and you know, I do some consultant work. So for very long, we've talked to clients about, you know, the advantage of remote working and of digital transformation and all that. And today you see all the businesses needing to accelerate this transformation on the one side. On the other side, you now value more than ever proximity. So you understand the need to be around the same table with your team and to discuss issues and to meet with people. So you see the speed, you know, the ideas changing here. We're not just advocating for for social distance and remote work and digital. We're also advocating now for the importance of proximity, which is
connection.
which is a very, very, very strong change in the trend that we've been seeing.
Absolutely. Well, Lourenço, thank you so much for joining us. The insight was very, very interesting, and I really hope we can talk again soon.
I hope so. Thank you very much, Lucas.